Welcome, one and all, back to another episode of Five Downs with Fannon. I am your host, Spencer Fannon. This is the fourth episode of this show in this series. If this is your first time with us, with me, thank you very much for clicking on the link, and hopefully you stick around for the entire thing. But if it is your first time, let me give you a quick breakdown. Each episode is going to focus on an overarching subject, and then there will be five topics or downs going to, under that topic. You might ask, what? Well, this college football show, it has been. This is going to be the Big 12 show, but so why five downs? There's only four downs in football. It's like, and you are correct, new viewer or old viewer, but I'm a Missouri alum, and five downs or fifth down has a shaky connotation for me, as in 1990 the Colorado Buffaloes were playing the Missouri Tigers in a conference game, and the referees accidentally gave Colorado an extra down, a fifth down, at the end of the game, allowing Colorado to score the go-ahead and eventual winning touchdown. And Colorado went on to split the national title with Georgia Tech that year. So fifth down, if you ask any Missouri fan, it's up there with the kickball in the north end zone and all that. So there you go. It's Yeah, I mean, that's the quick little history thing. So we might as well get right down into it on this episode of Five Downs with Fannon, and we're going to go straight into first down. All right, first down time, and we're a little late on this topic actually because week zero has already happened, and this topic is all about the Big 12 week zero game. Iowa State holds on against Kansas State over in Dublin, Ireland. It was a sloppy game, especially at the start. I believe, four combined turnovers in the first half. Just low scoring game too. Just it was rainy, smoky because I get pregame fireworks just stuck around. I guess the wind didn't air it out very well and all that. So it's just, I mean, it felt a lot like one of those old NFC Central black and blue or AFC North games, like just defenses beating up on each other, beating up on the offense, stuff like that. So I mean, it got better as the game went on. Obviously, more high scoring. Iowa State holds on to win 24-21. These are two of the teams that are probably going to be in the running for the Big 12 title, at least a title game appearance at the end of this year. I mean, Iowa State, they returned 13 starters, including their quarterback Rocco Becht, who led several key drives, touchdown drives in the second half for the Cyclones, but they did lose their top two wide receivers to the NFL, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. I mean, those guys were fantastic. I think both had close to 1,000 yards receiving. So, but it's Matt Campbell. I mean, he's one of the best coaches in the country. They always seem to just be that steady team. I mean, they won 11 games last year for the first. It was the most in program history. They beat Miami in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which was awesome. Man, I love that mascot, and that idea was so fantastic, and all that. Kansas State, they returned only 10 starters, but they also did bring their quarterback Avery Johnson, who some were saying would be a Heisman Trophy candidate, like a very dark horse Heisman Trophy candidate. I mean, he was solid. He had 3 touchdowns, but he didn't just his stat line was solid, but it just didn't look smooth, I guess is the best way to say it. It just now it hurt that their returning running back Dylan Edwards, he got hurt, I believe on the opening punt return in the first quarter. It was because during the broadcast they were mentioning that, like, the smoke. I think he might have lost it in the smoke, and then he turned an ankle or something like that when he was trying to make the catch, and he fumbled. Now I believe Kansas State ended up stopping Iowa State on a fourth down anyway, so it was a turnover, or they got a fumble that that was what it was. It was they got a fumble right back and stuff, so it kind of mitigated the fumble. But obviously, Dylan Edwards was their best returning weapon for Kansas State, and he got hurt early, didn't play the entire game, so that was unfortunate for them. I mean, they went 9-4 last year. Ended up they no, I'm sorry, they ended up winning the Rate Bowl. I work part time for Major League Baseball, so I'm like, I hear rate, I'm thinking of the White Sox, because that's the new name of the field, Wright Field. I think it's the same company that actually does that bowl game. So, but it's just Kansas State. They didn't show me that. I mean, again, like Avery Johnson's numbers at the end were solid, but it just didn't feel smooth and all that. So a lot of early game jitters type of stuff, and all that. I mean, these are two teams that should contend for at least a Big Ten title game appearance. I think Iowa State probably a better case for it, depending on how the injury to Dylan Edwards comes back. Not sure if there's been any word on that just yet, but yeah, I mean, it's just yeah, I mean, like it was a good game to it was a game to see at the start of the college football season. Obviously, I mean, again, it's like the last two have been Dublin games. I mean, last year was Georgia Tech beating Florida State, so it's just in there. It's like kind of sloppy. Obviously, you got the travel and everything like that. I mean, I'd love to go to Ireland. My parents have gone; they travel a bunch, so it's like that's really cool. But I'd love to go. I'm a golfer, so I would love to go play golf out there too. But I mean, seeing a college football game would be pretty cool too. But I mean, that's all. You can't really say a whole bunch about it because it was a sloppy game up until the fourth quarter where points exploded, and it turned out, yeah, I mean, Iowa State essentially ran out the clock. They had a fourth down. Matt Campbell, called a nice swing pass. Rocco Beck hit their running back in the flat. He was able to get it down to like the half-yard line. They initially ruled a touchdown, but then review showed he was down at the half-yard line. Kansas State didn't have any timeouts, so they were able to just knee it out and win the game that way and such. So, I mean, Iowa State, I think their quarterback, I think was just seemed a little more consistent than Avery Johnson. So but I'd have to see more from both of these teams to really feel confident about if they're going to make a conference title game playoff push or just a playoff push in general and stuff. So, but college football has returned, and it happened. It was enjoyable at the end, and that's all you can ask for. So that was first down. Second down time. And we got to give the Sun Devils their entire own segment here. It's like obviously Arizona State, they were picked 16th, I believe, in the Big 12 media preseason poll start before the 2024 season. They ended up winning the conference, getting to the college football playoff, mostly on the back of their star running back Cam Skattebo. However, he has departed, has been drafted by the New York Giants in the 2025 NFL Draft. So that's one of the big questions that they're going to have to face. Getting that production, replacing that production. They returned 17 starters, including their quarterback in Sam Levitt, who showed flashes last year down the stretch. They do bring in a top transfer running back in Army's Kanye Udon, who rushed for over 1,100 yards for the Black Knights last year. So that's a good replacement, big bruising back, a lot like Skattebo. That they did lose they lost their big weapon down the stretch last year in Jordan Tyson. Now he should be back. He predicts to be back for the start of the year. So that's a huge weapon for Levitt, gives him that number one option and such. Kenny Dillingham was coach of the year last year for the Big 12. I mean, I think with them bringing people back, it's gonna help a lot. Their schedule actually is pretty tough. They've got 4 tough games. They play at Baylor, at Utah, host Texas Tech, and then at Iowa State. So three of their 4 tough games, especially conference games, are all on the road. So that's going to be difficult. Their non-con is pretty easy. Northern Arizona. They play at Mississippi State, and then they host Texas State. So it's going to be difficult. They do go to Utah off a bye week, so that'll help. But they do have to play at Iowa State first week in November after a couple games, after three games in a row. So that's going to be probably the tough one that might end up deciding. I mean, that could be actually a preview for the Big 12 title game between a rematch and a preview, because those two teams, Iowa State and Arizona State, met in the Big 12 title game in 2024. Arizona State won 45-19. They destroyed them. But you could see a repeat, a rematch of that later this year in Dallas for the Big 12 title. I mean, it's really going to come down to how much can Sam Levitt carry them? I mean, like, do they have that magic? I mean, it will be difficult. I think. Well, yeah. I mean, they've got to obviously, I think, win two of those four tough games. If they can win three of them, they're definitely. I think they definitely will be going to Dallas for the Big 12 title. But their season is going to come down to those four games, and it's going to come down to can Sam Levitt be steady enough to lead that offense? I mean, he showed flashes last year. I believe, what were his stats last year? It was let's see. He threw for 2,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 picks, and stuff. And he also had almost 450 yards rushing. So that's a very solid returning guy. But it's like maybe hopefully see a little bit more production out of him this year, bump some of those numbers up to over 3,000 passing and stuff like that. So that's going to be the key one to look at. Can Sam Levitt produce enough? I'm not sure. I mean, I think a former coworker of mine is a huge Arizona State fan. I believe it's Arizona State alum. So I'm sure he's going to be all over. He might be busting up my phone when he sees this and everything about how dare you doubt the Arizona State and all that. But I got to call it how I see it. I don't know. I mean, he showed flashes last year. You lost your safety blanket in Cam Scadaboo, who was otherworldly down the stretch last year. So can you do that? And I do think, actually, I think the Big 12 is going to be a little bit better this year. There's going to be a little more high-end talented teams in the conference. So that's nothing to say against Arizona State. They were fantastic last year, especially down the stretch. But they're not going to be the hunter. They're going to be the hunted this year. So can Levitt and Dillingham handle that? We shall see. So good luck to them. And there you go. I mean, that's second down. We're going to move on to third down now. And we are back for third down. And third down, as you can see, it's Utah. Cam Rising is no longer there. He finally exhausted his eligibility after all those weights. I mean, he was so much fun to watch when he was healthy, but he couldn't get healthy the last 2 years, and it was unfortunate. But it's going to be interesting because that's the only starter on offense that Utah is not returning this year. They're bringing back 10 offensive starters, 7 defensive starters for a combination of 17. So that's one of the biggest returners, I think, in the conference. I mean, certainly up there. Arizona State also is returning 17, but it's a little more balanced at 8 and 9. But Utah, the only returning starter the only player not returning to the team is the quarterback. Now, the transfer quarterback they got, Devin Dampier, played in New Mexico last year, had nearly 3,900 total yards, over 30 touchdowns. So he's got skills, obviously at a slightly lower conference level, but he gets a boost because the new OC at Utah is his old coach, Jason Beck. So he comes in. That should be a pretty seamless transition. There you go. I mean, he's not going to have to learn a new system, so that's going to definitely help. Of their games, I picked out 4 tougher games that they've got this year. Luckily, 3 of them are at home. They play Texas Tech on September 20th at home. They play Arizona State on October 11th at home. They play Kansas State on November 22nd at home. Now, and then their tough road game is they got to go to Baylor on November 15th. So that's right before the Kansas State game. But it is off a bye, so they get a boost there. They don't really have a very tough non-con at UCLA. Is probably their toughest game, first week of the season. And they play Cal Poly, and then they play at Wyoming. So actually, they play 2 true road games in the non-con. That's pretty impressive, actually. So that might actually help them down the stretch because it's going to allow the team and the quarterback to mesh, I think, better in a hostile environment. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously Kyle Whittingham has been at Utah for 20 plus years, one of the better unsung coaches in college football. So I don't. It's a bit like a lot of these teams with the Big 12. So you just don't know. You don't know if they have the high end talent to really, I guess, the high profile talent, not high end, because all these kids who are playing college football are very, very talented. I should preface that and apologize to anybody who was like watching that, because I played 1 year of high school football, so I was not talented. So anybody playing college football at any level is much more talented than I was. But it's like that. I guess high profile might be a better word, at least nationally, and such. But I mean, Whittingham, he's going to have his team ready to go. I mean, they went 5-7 last year, but again, their quarterback situation was a mess last year. I think they ended up playing like 4 or 5 quarterbacks. Let's see, it was fifth. They got all the way to 5. Yeah, fifth string was Botari. Let's see, is he the second guy? No, I believe he has moved on actually. Yeah, Luke Botari. He played a little bit against Colorado and then played later on, but. Yeah, I mean, it's just their quarterback situation was just hell and stuff. So it's having a set starter is going to make it so much simpler for all involved. So I do think that they're definitely going to be better than they were last year at 5-7, 7-8 wins for sure. I mean, again, they're tough. 3 of their toughest games are at home. It's tough to play at Utah and all that. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, they could be one of those teams that kind of surprises you. Like you look up in November and it's like, oh, Utah's only lost 1 game this year. Interesting. Okay, like that type of thing. They're going to be very under the radar throughout the season, in my opinion. So I do think that they get back to that 9-10 win season type stuff. I don't know if that's, and they'll be in a fight to the end for a Big 12 title berth, but that might be as far as it goes. I mean, it's all going to come down to the quarterback. It will. I mean, a lot of these teams, it's all going to come down to the quarterback. So if Dampier can be what he was at New Mexico against stronger competition, then yeah, Utah, you could see Utah in Dallas playing for the Big 12 title. So we shall see, but good luck to them. It's going to be difficult. So you're replacing a legend in Cam Rising. So, but that was 3rd down. Time to move over to 4th down. All right, time for 4th down. And again, kind of like the second and 3rd downs, it's like you got to have this one team have its own segment. It's Colorado, and you can read it on the screen. How far do they fall? I mean, they went 9-4 last year, but they lost their quarterback, their top 4 wide receivers, obviously the Heisman Trophy winner and Travis Hunter, a bunch of other players. They only actually returned 11 starters across both sides and only 3 on offense. So it's going to be really difficult. They did bring in one of the top recruits, quarterback recruits in Juju Lewis, though I believe today, as of the time of this recording on August 26th, Colorado did announce that Kadon Salter, Liberty transfer, is going to be the starter at least for week 1. So we'll see. I don't know if Lewis is going to be sneaking in or anything like that, but it will be Salter. Am I right? Yeah, Salter starting. He did at Liberty. He was 2023. The Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year. So let's see if they give us. I don't see his stats. Oh, okay. Started 29 games, threw for almost 6,000 yards in 3 years at Liberty and such. Let's see if there's a better number for him. I don't see it here. I'm reading. Still got the Field Steel Bible that I'm getting my stats and stuff from. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be can Dion get all those guys? I mean, obviously he had the health scare, and congratulations to him on being declared cancer free. That is fantastic. And everything like that. But it's I mean, obviously going to be difficult when you lose the Heisman Trophy winner, you lose a bunch of guys on the outside, you lose your quarterback. So can you do it? I mean, and their schedule is relatively difficult. They've got picked out like these other teams have picked out four. They're four tough games. Now they split them between two on the road, two at home. Their two hard home games are October 11th against Iowa State, and then November 22nd against Arizona State, and then they have to travel to Utah on October 25th and to Manhattan, Kansas, to face Kansas State on the last week of the year, November 29th. So they split it like that, but it is still the amount of players a lot of players and playmakers that they lost. It's going to be really difficult to match up for that. I mean, obviously, like I said, they went 9-4 last year. They went 7-2 in the conference. They just missed out on getting to the conference title game via tiebreaker. So it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be difficult. I mean, their non-con is pretty easy. They play Georgia Tech, Delaware, and then they go to Houston. So it's not a very difficult. They should have a relatively soft landing. No, Georgia Tech should be a pretty good game actually. Georgia Tech might be a sleeper team in the ACC, at least to compete for an ACC title. But I don't know. It's like, I mean, you lost so much, and Colorado's not the powerhouse that an Alabama or a Texas or an Ohio State or a Georgia or a Michigan is. They don't have fully, like, they haven't gotten fully to that recruiting backlog of like, okay, one guy leaves, immediate starter steps in types, like high impact starter. Obviously, Dion has done a fantastic job at recruiting there, but I don't know if this is only his third year. So I don't know if he's fully gotten it because they brought in a ton of transfers last year to fill out the roster. And some of those guys are returning, but it's like looks like you're starting to get more of the high-end recruits in. So maybe this is the start of a snowball, like in a good way, moving forward for Colorado. But I do think that they are going to take a step back this year. I don't see them. I mean, I see them maybe getting to a bowl game, maybe. So it's just because, I mean, they don't have this. They don't have the star weapons anymore. I mean, their defense wasn't all that good last year. With step up from the previous year, but they could just outscore anybody last year with Shador at the helm, Travis Hunter on the outside, Wester, Jimmy Horn, all those guys. And now it's like, now you don't have those. So is Colorado going to be able to win in different ways? Can their defense hold up? Can their offense score enough? So it's going to be difficult. I don't know. I could see them. I think it's more likely that they lose or only win 5 or fewer games than it is if they win 7 or more, even if they get to a bowl game. So I think that they probably finish at 500 or below at best 500. So unfortunately, I have a bunch of high school classmates who went to Colorado. So sorry if you're going to watch this and you're claiming I'm ripping on Colorado. I got to say like I said last segment. I got to tell it how it is, and I just don't know if Colorado's got the weapons and to come back or the ability to overcome the loss of those weapons that they had last year. So, but there you go. That was 4th down. Let's head on to 5th down. All right, we're back for 5th down, and as you can tell, it's like the last couple of shows. How many teams from this conference are going to make the college football playoff? And I guess it's kind of really a simple answer. It's just going to be one. Whoever wins the Big 12 title is the only team that's making it. It's just the question is going to be who wins the Big 12 title. There are, I think, 4 teams that have a relatively good shot at doing so. Obviously, Arizona State won it last year after being picked like 15th or 16th in the media poll. They lost to Texas in the first round of the college football playoff. This year, I can see Iowa State, who already has a step up because they beat Kansas State in week 0 in Dublin. Arizona State, who are going to be the hunted, not the hunter this year. Baylor, who returns a bunch of guys from a down year last year. They returned 18 of 22 starters and stuff. They went 8-5 last year, so they were pretty decent last year. And obviously, returning all that is going to definitely help. I believe they returned their quarterback who threw for over 3,000 yards and all that. They've got a pretty really all their tough games. All their tough games are at home. They play Arizona State, they play Kansas State, and they play Utah, but they're all at home. I mean, their toughest road game might be Arizona or TCU and stuff. And TCU's off a bye and stuff like that. Arizona might be a trap game because they play Utah the week before, but they've got a really good shot at getting in there. And I think Texas Tech does too. I mean, they return 21 of 22 starters and stuff. So that's really impressive. They went 8-5 last year. They return their quarterback and stuff. He did have offseason surgery, but he should be ready to go for week one. But their backup got, because of that surgery, was able to get all the first team reps during spring ball and stuff. So he should be ready to go there too. I think Taj. Yeah, I mean the only running back, the only player they lose on offense or any of the starters is their running back Taj Brooks, who was, I believe, their program leader in rushing yards. So that's going to be a big hole to fill. But I mean, it's going to be able to spread the ball around and all that. Their schedule, they got a much tougher slate with their schedule. They got to go to Utah, they got to go to Arizona State, and they got to go to Kansas State. So their three toughest games are all on the road and stuff. And then they don't play Iowa State, so that helps. But they do again. They play Kansas State, they play Arizona State, and they play Utah. So three of the other four teams that could be battling for the conference championship. But really, it's going to be whoever wins the conference title is going to be the only team that makes the college football playoff this year, just like it was last year. I just don't know if the Big 12 has enough high profile and high end teams to get in without winning their conference title and stuff. I mean, I think I've said SEC, I think is going to get 4. Big 10 might get 4. Big 10, I think, is actually 3. SEC 4. ACC, I think, is going to get 2. So that gives you 9. 1 here. I think Notre Dame might get in, and then you got one Group of 5 team. So it's like there's your 12. It's like I just don't know. You're getting one of these other Big 12 teams is going to have to beat out a second level SEC team to probably get that second team in. And I just don't know if there's going to be. I don't know if there's a team good enough here that can. So it's going to be difficult. I mean, heck, we'll see if a Big 12 team can win a college football playoff, because obviously Arizona State lost last year to Texas. But it was a fun game though. A lot of those games were really, really good. Some of the obviously some of them were blowouts, but it was like there were some really good games mixed in there. But there you go. I mean, I only think it's going to be one Big 12 team making the college football playoff. So, but there you go. That is this week's episode of 5 Downs with Fannon. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, it's going to be just week 1 recap, and I can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. There'll be 5 games I look at, stuff like that, and all this. So if you got a game that you want me to take a look at from week 1, drop the name of it in the comments and stuff, or send it to me via Twitter and all that, just to give me an idea, and I'll make sure I take a watch at it. I actually have a weekend off from work. First time this entire month that I'm not working on a Saturday or Sunday, so it's going to be fantastic, and it lines up for the college football season, so it's going to be great. But yeah, I mean, thanks again for watching. Please leave a like, a subscribe. It's going to help it out, because I'm just trying to get this guy off the ground and all that. But until next time, again, I'm Spencer Fannon. Thank you for watching, and see ya.